Oh my god. Yeah, that theme kicked in and...
Doctor? Doctor?
Yes? What is it? What do you want?
Sorry. But you're about to make a very big mistake.
It's like I'm breaking into a million pieces and there's only one thing I remember. I have to save the doctor.
Whoa.
But he never hears me.
Ah.
Almost never. I'm Clara Oswald. I'm the impossible girl.
Yes, you
I was
are.
born to save the doctor.
Whoa. That certainly explains that whole notion of her being drawn to the doctor, the figure that is the doctor, right?
He lives till I understand what he told me.
Look at these
Going to
outfits.
need a conference call. I'll send out the invitations. You fetch the candles.
Yes, Mom.
I wish he'd never discovered that place.
What the hell? Almost kind of like astral projection.
Oh. Strax, good of you to join us.
It better be
And who else is coming?
Who else is coming?
That's my question.
The women.
Ah.
Oh no.
Oh,
Try to make a
okay. Maybe
souffle
we have a
again.
song as well
My
then.
mum's souffle.
Souffle. Yes.
Madam Vastra.
Professor, help yourself
Clara
to
and
some
River
Why,
Song.
thank you.
Sorry, it's just I never realized you were a woman.
Well, neither did I.
How did he prove their value?
One word only.
What?
Trenzalore.
A word I've heard in connection with the doctor before. Trenzalore.
Fields of Trenzalore, man. The fall of the 11th.
His friends are lost forevermore, unless he goes to Trenzalore.
No, you can't say that. He can't go there. You know he can't.
I like how this was essentially set up in the finale, the last finale. Dorium, right? Doctor Who.
An old friend.
Ooh,
of
the
mine.
theme.
What, like an ex?
Yes, an ex. And it was Trenzalore. It was definitely Trenzalore.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Yeah. Seeing him like that really got me too, man. Wow.
Trenzalore. I've heard the name, of course.
Eh.
Dorian mentioned it. Trenzalore is where I'm buried.
Wow. The theme.
How can you have a grave?
Because we all do somewhere out there in the future.
You said it's one place you must never go.
He's being
I
forced.
have to say Faster and Strax, Jenny too, if it's still possible. They cared for me during the dark times. Never questioned me, never judged me. They were just kind. I owe them. I have a duty.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Shall we?
Gravestones are a bit basic.
It's a battlefield graveyard. My final battle.
Oh, his might be... Oh, wow.
It's the TARDIS.
I can see that.
No.
The actual TARDIS.
Yes, I mean it actually is the
In the
TARDIS.
future.
My TARDIS from the future.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful lighting here. Look at this.
There we go. Just a standard electrocardio restart. She'll be fine.
Are you all right, my love?
Let me Strax.
The heart is a relatively simple thing.
I've not found it to be so.
And the vessel of the final darkness. Welcome to the tomb of the Doctor.
Of the Doctor. Wow, that goes hard.
Still a bit of a climb. I think I remember the way.
Love the moody tones.
You're fine.
Have we done this before?
Oh.
We have.
Whoa.
We have done this before, climbing through a wrecked TARDIS.
Whoa.
You
It's...
said things.
Why do I keep meeting you? The Dalek Asylum. There was a girl in a shipwreck and she
I was
died
hoping
saving
for this.
my life. And she was you. That is not a conversation you should even remember.
What do you mean I died?
Don't like the sound of that.
Jenny.
Open the door, Doctor. Speak.
I will not open those doors.
The key is a word lost to time. Doctor,
Who?
what is your name?
Doctor Who?
Please!
did you open the door, sir? I had them on the run.
I didn't do it. I didn't say my name.
No,
She did.
but I did.
Yeah. The tension, though, I feel it.
What's that?
What were you expecting, a body? That is the scar tissue of my journey through the universe. My path through time and space.
Wow.
From Gallifrey to Trenzalore.
Have you ever thought about life beyond the fourth dimension?
I have the right. There are some corners
Wow.
of the universe which are meant for us to celebrate.
Chills.
Absolutely fantastic.
I can rewrite your every living moment.
Wow.
I can turn every one of your victories into defeats, poison every friendship, deliver pain.
He's being rewritten.
Whoa. Whoa. So is Clara kind of like the counter to this?
It is done. It is done.
She is like a being. I mean, she's a human, but someone that was created to counter this, perhaps?
Think how many lives that man saved, how many worlds.
How about the
He
ones?
saved your life when we met. Jenny! Please, Jenny!
Oh no, Strax.
No!
Oh, he's gonna attack her.
But this is what I've already done.
The Time Winds will tear you into a million pieces. A million versions of you, living and dying all over time and space. Like echoes.
The echoes could save the Doctor, right?
But they won't be you. The real you will die. They'll just be copies.
But they'll be real enough to save him.
Okay.
It's the only way to save him, isn't it?
Echoes through time.
Well, how about that? I'm souffle girl after all.
No.
In fact, you know what? Run. Run, you clever boy. And remember me. Sometimes it's like I've lived 1,000 lives in 1,000 places. I'm born, I live, I die.
Don't steal that one, steal this one. The navigation system's knackered, but you'll have much more fun.
Oh,
Right from the
wow.
day he started running. Run, you clever boy. And remember me.
You are always here to me. And I always listen. And I can always see you.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great scene.
Since nobody else in this room can see you, God knows how that looks.
Look at Strax.
Say it like you're going to come back.
See you around, Professor Riversong.
Till the next time, Doctor.
Don't wait up.
I was mentally linked with Clara. If she's really dead, then how can I still be here?
How?
Spoil.
Ah!
Goodbye, sweetie.
Oh, is that the... That's it, isn't it, for the Matt Smith River Song era? That felt like it. Oh, okay.
You're inside my time stream. Everything around you is me.
I can see you.
That's so cool. Ah, Eccleston!
All your different faces, they're here.
Those are my ghosts. My past. Every good day. Every bad day.
How many times have you saved me, Clara? Just this once. Just for the hell of it.
Let me save you.
save you. You have to trust me, Clara. I'm real. My Clara.
Who's that?
Never mind.
He knows.
Let's get back.
But who is he?
It's me. There's only me here. That's the point. Now let's get back.
But I never saw that one.
I said he was me. I never said he was the Doctor.
Oh, I don't understand.
My name, my real name. That is not the point. The name I chose is the Doctor. The name you choose, it's like a promise you make. He's the one who broke the promise.
Clara? Clara?
What?
Clara?
What I did without choice. I know. In the name of peace and sanity. But not in the name of the Doctor.
Turn around, go on, go on. Oh my god, John Hurt. Oh. Oh no, like, okay, yes. How about that finale? How about that ending? How about that ending? Oh my goodness. The late great Sir John Hurt as the Doctor. And listen, for anything else that might have seemed a bit cheesy, that Tarantino-esque introduction, John Hurt as the Doctor. But here, that was magnificent because it is John fucking Hurt. Pardon my language, but that was just phenomenal. That was epic. That was one of the great moments, one of the greatest moments of the show for me. It's one of my personal favorites. I was beyond rattled and shocked to see this. How exciting. And right now, just sitting here thinking about you guys, actually seeing that as it aired. Oh my goodness, that must have been incredible. Now, the interesting thing to find out here is how long that break must have been, because I'm not sure how long it took before the 50th was aired after this episode. So, that is some cliffhanger. That is some cliffhanger, but that is a cliffhanger done right for sure. That is so exciting. So exciting. I've got to say perhaps that is the best Moffat era finale. I mean, The Big Bang is certainly right up there. I mean, there's only 3 of them, but the one that is certainly not at the same level is the Series 6 finale. I mean, it's loads of fun. It is, but it was kind of messy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think this episode has its share of some head scratcher moments for sure, right? It's not perfect, but it was so damn entertaining, and just there's so much to love about it, right? But yeah, I'd say Big Bang and this one are probably around the same level. As a personal preference, I think I really enjoyed this the most. There's something about the tone of it that really spoke to me. That I don't know, it just felt like it was right up my alley. But again, The Big Bang is a fantastic episode. It really is. And it was a fantastic conclusion to the first series. It's got a fantastic bookend, right? You've got the 11th hour, episode 1, and then the Big Bang. It wraps it up nicely, for sure. And also another thing to notice in these finales is how the Doctor kind of sacrifices himself, right? Kind of. It's not a final solution. It's not a final moment or anything. But he's more than ready to put himself at risk and himself in danger. But thankfully, he does come back. He always comes back, right? But yeah, that ending is just jaw-dropping. It really is. Now, listen, from that reaction, you could tell that this is a bit of a black sheep in terms of the regenerations. Like, I'm not even sure yet if that is one of the regenerations. Actually, that being said, the Doctor himself tells Clara, I told you, that's me. It is me. Everything in here is me. So it is the Doctor. I mean, it's even being introduced as the Doctor, right? John Hurt as the Doctor. But there is something that kind of sets him aside, right? He doesn't quite fit that mold. But as all of us know, sometimes the black sheep ends up being the most fascinating of the bunch as well. Right, so the level of intrigue at the end there is just, it's a really high level at this point. So this whole notion and concept of him doing something that clearly doesn't have our Doctor's approval, and essentially all the Doctors before him, someone who doesn't fit that moniker, who doesn't fit that title of the Doctor, right? Because as they've explained before, they the people of Earth and the universe essentially got the term from the Doctor to begin with. So it means something, right? The term Doctor, the name he took on. And also I loved how the real significance of the title, the name of the Doctor, really comes into play here, right at the end as well. Right at the cliffhanger conclusion of the episode as well, right? Essentially a bit of a misdirect, because it's almost as if it's a foregone conclusion, the name of the Doctor, the secret that he takes to the grave. So, here you see that the Doctor and River Song are the only ones that really truly understand any of that, right? He even kind of gets agitated, momentarily at Clara. He kind of gives her a poke. That's your problem. You don't listen. Not her specifically, but humans, I suppose. But circling back to that notion and the concept of not having a choice, but doing it in the sake of, or in the name of peace and sanity, but not in the name of the Doctor, as our Doctor, the 11th, retorts, it's starting to feel like maybe this Doctor, right, the black sheep, a bit of an outcast. It appears that this might be linked to the Time War and his role in the Time War. Now, that being said, I believe Eccleston mentioned, this is a long time ago now, really long time ago, but I believe Eccleston mentioned being there at some point, and I'm speaking of the Time War. Then it starts becoming a little bit cloudy in that sense, right? Is this a Doctor that was there in the Time War? Because it's certainly sounding like it, given how the Time War has ended or was ended. And I've had a drip feed of information throughout the first 7 series. But yeah, I really thought that was a phenomenal ending to the series. It really was. And I'm really quite excited for the 50th, for the Day of the Doctor. And I'm sure I'll get all my answers in that. And I'll see how David Tennant comes in. As I've mentioned before, I do know he's in it because, again, that poster. But, this concept of, even Clara kind of brings it up, you're the 11th Doctor, right? I've seen all your faces, but not that one. Does that mean that our Doctor right now, Matt Smith, is he actually the 12th Doctor in that sense? Or does that mean that, even though, John Hurt is the Doctor or was the Doctor at one point, he didn't really take the role or the name of the Doctor, though, again, the show itself is introducing him as the Doctor. But again, I suppose I think the big thing here to take from this is that, his actions are not in line with those of the Doctors that came before him and after him, I suppose. So you see, for that reason, that our Doctor doesn't even seem to recognize him as one of the Doctors. So yeah, it's fascinating stuff. And I'm hopeful that I'll get something really quite exciting for this plot point in the Day of the Doctor, hopefully. Now, at the end there, you see that our Clara, and as the Doctor mentioned, my Clara, I thought that was a lovely touch because, he was reunited and he was able to kind of protect and save that Clara, right? Prime Clara, I guess, the real deal, the actual Clara. Of course, I'm super happy that she survives all of that. And I know she survives because I know she's in the season with the next one, right? Peter Capaldi's Doctor. Not sure, it could be by design, but it didn't really explain just how she survives this, right? Because as firmly established throughout this episode, if you go in there, you're going to die. And you see the great intelligence did not care one bit. I think that's one of the flaws. Maybe flaws is a bit harsh. I think that's one of the elements of this episode that doesn't quite land. This whole concept of the great intelligence being so dead set on getting the Doctor, taking the Doctor out, so much so that it was down to go into the scar tissue, that tunnel through time, and affect the Doctor in millions and millions of pieces. And undo everything the Doctor's ever done, undo every defeat faced at the hands of the Doctor. But there is the problem, because I was introduced to the great intelligence just not too long ago in this series, right? The Snowman. I just didn't really feel the gravitas of this revenge of his this being, right? Because it just wasn't established as a character long enough. You know, this really could have been effective for another type of enemy that I've seen on screen being defeated over and over the span of this 7 series. But of course, you know, maybe this is a bit more impactful for some of the classic Doctor Who fans, because it was brought to my attention that indeed the Great Intelligence has a past in Doctor Who, right, from classic Who. But yeah, you know, I haven't seen classic Who, right? I can only speak of this series, but from this perspective, from a character that's only been established a few episodes ago, really, and I've only seen twice on screen, and the second time the Doctor didn't really even meet the Great Intelligence, right? Speaking of the Bells of St. John, but yeah, of course he had a run-in the Snowman, but that was about it. So you know, you get my point, right? It didn't really feel like there's this history there, and that there's this thirst that the Great Intelligence has to take down the Doctor once and for all, in such a grand manner, in such a I don't know, in such a final manner. That's the one part that didn't really land. But all of that being said, I think the performance through Richard E. Grant, I thought that was fantastic once again. Like I mentioned, he's got a lot of screen presence. You really see the malice that he has towards the Doctor. So he sells it, right? He did his part. So no problems there. I certainly enjoyed that performance aspect of it. But let's shift the focus to Clara, the other person that does step into you know, the scar tissue, the tunnel, the time stream of the Doctor. So you have 3. I mean, I guess the Great Intelligence isn't really a person. I thought it was really quite effective from a visual standpoint. You know, that's just this hollow thing, right? This presence. And you know, the henchmen, the Whispermen, I suppose. Yeah, I thought, you know, decent character design. I felt that they are effective henchmen, essentially, right? To me, it kind of felt like a mix of the Silence and the Snowmen as well, right? You see the teeth, and then you've got the, you know, of course, the snazzy outfits and the top hats. The moment you see that outfit, you know, okay, yeah, you know, the Great Intelligence, or Richard E. Grant's take on the Great Intelligence might be behind this, right? So yeah, I thought, yeah, decent introduction. You know, it was cool to see them in the prequel as well. And that prequel actually felt really important, because I feel like if you don't see that, you're going to be a little bit confused about how this Clarence fellow was even able to get the, you know, the location of, you know, the tomb of the Doctor, the final resting site of the Doctor, Trenzalore. I'll get to Trenzalore because that is one of my favorite locations in all of Who so far. It is. Oh my goodness. You know, I love that a lot of this episode is staged at that location. But you know, I'll come back to that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, you might be a little bit lost if you don't see the prequel, right? But you know, in terms of the prequels, I checked out Rain Gods, of course, the Clarence prequel, and then also She Said, He Said. Now that one was really unique, because it actually felt more like a promo, right? Yeah, you know, there's some fourth wall breaking going on as well, right? Giving us both sides of the story so far. Again, you know, She Said, He Said. You know, at one point it was starting to feel like a bit of a spoiler. You know, looking back at it now, it's not really a spoiler. But, you know, it certainly set the tone, and it certainly put it up front that both of them are going to know about each other's true nature by the end of this episode. In fact, the beginning of this episode, and that is a delightful opening to an episode as well, for sure. But, you know, maybe some people didn't like it because right at the beginning, they put it up front, Clara, you know, the big mystery of Clara, right? That she has been a constant in the Doctor's life right since the beginning of his journey, since day one. In fact, she plays a major role in picking the TARDIS. It's that, or the TARDIS and Clara kind of did this, you know, thing together off screen, because of course, you know, as the TARDIS mentioned in the first Neil Gaiman episode, that, you know, she picked, or it picked him rather than the Doctor picking the TARDIS. So if you go by this notion that Clara's always been there and she was there at that really important moment, then yeah, you know, Clara and the TARDIS, I suppose, kind of teamed up in that sense, right? Because the TARDIS can actually see time at all times, right? Present, past, and future all together. So the TARDIS must have known, right? And this kind of explains a bit of that hesitation on the TARDIS's end about Clara, right? The impossible girl, because it's been sensing Clara and noticing Clara for a long time. But yeah, actually, before I go any further, yeah, I think it checks out. I think that's a good conclusion to that mystery, right? The impossible girl mystery. I mean, it's up front, right? It's just that later they kind of explain the reasoning behind it all. But yeah, they put it up front in a beautiful sequence. You know, listen, if I'm being honest, I really don't have that much interest in going back and checking out some of the classic Who stuff, right? There's just too much to watch, right? And even here in the reboot portion of it, there's still so much to watch. I've been at it for years. Yes, you know, I've been on and off, but now I've been at it consistently as well. And there's still so much to get to. But that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it or don't respect it anytime they show these past Doctors, right? It's one of the most magical moments, actually, anytime I get a glimpse of it, right? And to me, it feels like that's enough, right? But it was lovely because this is actually the most extensive collection of footage, archival footage that is being, you know, showcased and actually kind of being utilized. You know, you see that they are trying to put Richard E. Grant in there. They do put Clara in there, and I think it was really great to see that they're even trying to match, you know, the footage, the grain of the footage, right, to make it look authentic, that Clara actually was there. Now, of course, there's only so much they can do on that budget, but I thought it was a great attempt for sure. And of course, you know, the change in the hair, right, the different eras, the different time periods, and you know, the different outfits, the fabulous outfits on Jenna Louise Coleman. All of that certainly helped, right? I thought it was a lovely opening. But yeah, you know, right up front they tell us she's been there this whole time to save the Doctor, right? And yeah, you know, it checks out. Essentially, I was kind of on the right track that it is different iterations, you know, different echoes of Clara through time. I just didn't know the actual reasoning for it, right? To me, it was really clear, and you see it once again here, that those Claras, you know, those different, you know, pieces, the fragments of Clara throughout the Doctor's life, you know, she was drawn to the Doctor. She was predisposed to, you know, protect the Doctor, go look for the Doctor, even if she doesn't recognize the face. She knew this is the Doctor, as she mentioned. This attachment to the Doctor, right? That she is drawn to the Doctor, to the figure that is the Doctor. It all checks out. It makes sense, and then, you know, it also explains the reasoning behind this Clara, you know, Prime Clara, I suppose, not really having that same attachment or being drawn to the Doctor, right? Though ultimately, by the end of this, you see that there is a bit of a fantastic bond, and you see that throughout this episode, or over the span of this episode, she really understands the Doctor, really truly understands the Doctor and the type of person he is, the type of person who will do anything to protect his friends. I thought it was a really lovely moment, you know, as he does speak of the Paternoster gang. I hope I said that right. You know, it's the second time I'm trying it. Yeah, that was such a great moment, you know. And I thought it was great to actually include that into this, you know, to make it more than them just being these sidekicks. No. They played an important part in his life, and he knows this. He knows this, right? And he knows he owes them a lot, right? These are his friends. You know, these are people that are there for him at a really dark time. These are people that didn't question him. They just, you know, kind of respected him, protected him, shielded him, and they were just kind, as he mentioned. And, you know, for them, he goes along. He goes to Trenzalore. And listen, you know, that moment the Doctor kind of breaks into tears, thinking of Trenzalore and that he is going to be going there. That moment really got me. You know, it just felt so authentic. You know, it had me teary-eyed to see him like that. He sold that moment, the gravitas of, you know, Trenzalore and everything that comes along, all that baggage that comes along. Now, you know, speaking of Matt Smith, a masterful performance here, I think. I mean, you know, those lightning fast emotional pivots are a thing of beauty. You know, I've brought it up before, but it never gets old. It's so impressive. I mean, he goes through it in this one, right? And, you know, it's been one of the shining lights of this depiction of the Doctor, Matt Smith and his Doctor. And of course, you know, you have to give Moffat credit for this as well. You know, they really bring out the emotional core of the Doctor really quite effectively. And then once again, you see it on display in that really haunting and tender exchange, goodbye exchange, essentially, between the Doctor and River Song. Now listen, I'm not entirely sure if River Song's inclusion was completely necessary in this one, but, you know, I'm not complaining. I loved it. I love that she was included, but also it feels like she was included because that felt like the final goodbye, you know, the final goodbye to Matt Smith's Doctor. I mean, that is essentially the last time, if you look at it from River Song's perspective, her timeline, that is the last thing ever that she does, right? Now she really disappears because this is post Silence in the Library, or yeah, Silence in the Library, right? This is after she has died, but this is her projection, or this echo, much like Clara, right, as the Doctor mentioned. So I thought that was a really beautiful exchange. I think perhaps one of the standout exchanges or moments as far as the Doctor and River Song go. It was beautiful. I thought it was beautiful, right? That kiss they shared, wow, that was really quite impactful. You just feel how much the Doctor cares for River Song, how much he loves her, how much he's always loved her and cared for her, and always will. But yeah, I thought, yeah, I got a little bit sad, a little bit, you know, choked up because it hit me that, yeah, this feels like the last time Matt Smith and Alex Kingston might be on screen together. You know, I know The Day of the Doctor is this big thing, but it doesn't feel like she'll be in it, you know, given that ending. But, you know, the journey is not done yet. Yeah, maybe from a timeline perspective, that's, you know, River Song kind of now really gone, disappeared. There's a really beautiful line of dialogue, right? There's a time to live and a time to rest or feed. I think it was rest. But there's still a few more things left. So, yeah, you know, I'm expecting to see River Song and Capaldi's Doctor together for a few moments, right? It still has to show me the Doctor meeting River Song and knowing everything about River Song, and River Song not knowing anything about the Doctor, right? Flipping it. The first time I get to see River Song, she knows everything about the Doctor. And at that point, it was Tennant's 10th Doctor, right? No, but you're so young, really, right? And Tennant's like, no, I'm really not. But little did he know, River Song at that point knew him inside and out. And of course, at that point, she also tells the Doctor that she knows his name, right? And I remember Tennant's reaction. How could you possibly know my name? There's only one reason you could know my name, right? You know, she said it so the Doctor didn't have to say it out loud. You know, she comes in clutch. She certainly has a few clutch moments, right? Of course, guiding them towards, you know, the secret entrance. But, you know, let me shift the focus to Trenzalore. Oh my goodness. I think this is some of the most striking imagery, one of the most striking locations in all of Doctor Who, for me at least. Oh my goodness, I loved it. I love that it was staged there. I mean, you see the monolithic remains of the TARDIS. That is imagery I'll never forget, you know? And of course, seeing the Doctor step out of the TARDIS and seeing his reactions, again, you know, Matt Smith putting it on display, it was something special. It felt like something special. I feel that it effectively sold that indeed this is the final resting place of the Doctor, the tomb of the Doctor, right? As a great intelligence mentioned, you know, it was enough to take out the old man, right? Maybe not as grand in nature as the Time War, but still enough to take out the old man. You know, a final skirmish, a blood-soaked Doctor, as he described. Again, it's all a matter of perspective, isn't it? From some perspectives, the Doctor is this tyrant, you know, this blood-soaked, out-of-control maniac. But yeah, I really felt that it was so impactful. To me, it felt like this palpable atmosphere. I had chills as he kind of stepped out and he's kind of looking around, and, you know, they're showing the scenes, the battlefield, the mass graveyard, the unmarked, or, you know, the really similar looking graves, as Clara noted. Yeah, it was great. And, you know, another thing that plays a really big part in all of this is the score. Oh my goodness, you know, of course, Murray Gold added again. You know, there's a great selection of music in this one, perfectly matching the tone of the scenes they are in. You know, be it a melancholic and haunting and moody tone. Then you also have Clara's theme, River Song's theme. You have the Gallifreyan theme, right? And you know, at points it's also triumphant and grand in its scope. And then, like I mentioned, melancholic and haunting and moody and sad, all of that, right? And you know, it might sound strange, but that is something that's really right up my alley. I love that tone. Love the dark nature of some of the photography, the color grading. Like I mentioned, it really was high end. Made it look like a feature film. Dorian also mentioned the fields of Trenzalore, the fall of the 11th, right? So I guess he was actually, no, I couldn't, no. He said the old man, right? So it's clearly a future regeneration of the Doctor that falls in Trenzalore, right? But he said fall of the 11th. I'm not sure if, I don't know. Maybe that part didn't really quite check out, or maybe there's still more to it down the line. But yeah, I think that might do it for this one, folks. You know, to sign off, I think a thing I really like here is that now that the whole Impossible Girl mystery has been solved, it's out, and Clara lives, right? It's almost as if I can get, you know, not a proper introduction, but a second introduction to Clara. Now I can really get to know Clara as a character, right? Because that stuff's gone. That whole aspect of, you know, her being this impossible being, right? That the Doctor was kind of studying, right? Now I feel like it's going to be more of, okay, this is a person, right? And that's how he's going to treat her. Now I feel like there's much more ahead of Clara, right? Once you get rid of the whole mystery. Now I feel like I can really get to know this character, right? Hopefully, right? Hopefully it does go in that direction now. And you know, Clara is remembering a lot of things that she should not be remembering, according to the Doctor. So, you know, she has read the book. Did that memory come back? You know, because she opened that page, she did read about the Doctor and his role in the Time War and the name as well, right? So does that mean all those memories are coming back now? Is that going to play a part? Let's see. But yeah, I think that's about it for this one, folks. If you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. Also, please feel free to correct me if I kind of mixed a few things up here and there. You know, if you're interested in early access or perhaps full length, consider checking out the Patreon page. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also social media, if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for your time, because time is precious, right? It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the Day of the Doctor. How about that? How about that? How exciting, right?